doors open, kids find a safe space. Death-3 gaming dark fights the grind each day. From the joystick low to the streets ballet. She's the voice that echoes the restless hum. Hardcore hero where the city drums. She drove out of Cali where the sun went red. Found a home where chaos and dreams are bred. The city roars but her wheels still roll. Streaming at night with a fierce heart soul. Death-3 gaming dog fights the grind each day. From the joystick low to the streets ballet. She's the voice that echoes the restless hum. Hardcore hero where the city drums. They laugh, they cheer when her streams go live. Green glow shining, she makes them thrive. Kids in the morning don't see her night. She hides battles fought by screens, strange light. Driving their futures down bustling streets, filling small lives with the simple beats. She carries their dreams while chasing her own. Walking roads never leave her alone. She drove out of Cali where the sun went red. Found a home where chaos and dreams are bred. The city roars but her wheels still roll. Streaming at night with her fierce heart soul. They laugh, they cheer when her streams go live. Green glow shining, she makes them thrive. Kids in the morning don't see her night. She hides battles fought by screens, strange light. Driving their futures down bustling streets, filling small lives with the simple beats. She carries their dreams while chasing her own. Winding roads never leave her alone.
Well, greetings, gamers. This is Dr. Eileen, the Gaming Doc, and this is your place and your space to laugh, to chat, to chill, to hang out, to take a moment, to take a break, to take a breath. And oh, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Taking a breath is a very good thing. And today marks it is literally a week and a half till the end of summer school, which means I get like 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, I think, before I have to start waking up. I get like a couple of weeks that I don't have to be up at 3 in the morning, which, oh my goodness, I am so excited by. Iron Eagle, my eagle of iron. I am doing awesome and even a little bit better now that you're here. Yay. Hello. And Fire Nutter coming in. 589. Hi. Well, hi. Back to you. And Mr. Harmon, you are not late. You are like a wizard. You arrive exactly when you are meant to. And we now have our first 3 champions across the gate coming in for the gold again. Gold, iron, Iron Eagle, my eagle of iron. And coming in for the silver from the far high seas, we've got Captain Firebeard, Fire Nutter 589, and coming in for the bronze, the one who always brings us the 411 on all things interesting, Mr. Harmless. Champions, just like at the Olympics, take your places on your risers, wrap yourselves in your national flags as we play your national anthems. My hat is being weird today. See show and tell and recipes to try. We've got stuff in the Discord. Oh, why are you doing this? oh my gosh. Well, I don't know why it does like the weirdness, because it used to be that it would just automatically go straight. I have a long message. Well, you know what? We've got time for a long message. Thunderdome. Ah. Oh, yes. Fire Nutters. Dangerous pun. Okay, let's scroll down to recipes to try. Okay, so I had the idea of using these mini sausages. I love mini sausages. Oh my gosh, I love these. So I had the idea of using these mini sausages in the pig to make a mini sausage and ketchup sandwich. I had a try and it did taste good, albeit with the caution not to add too many to the sandwich. Not that is true. I mean, I would imagine that took a little bit of finesse to be able. Oh, but I love those sausages. And it has been a dog's age. I've got to order some. I've got to buy some. It has been so long and I used to love those. Oh my gosh, that was like my favorite thing, because I get a bunch of those and it's like do a little bit of an additional sear on them, and it always those sausages always made me think of like camp food for some reason. Fire Nutter, you have awakened in me an old food memory that now I must indulge. And I had not even thought of a ketchup and sausage sandwich. Mind blown. Oh my gosh. I would definitely have to do that. And here's the game update on my main Roblox game at this link. Okay, so we've got Muns 17.7 billion. What is it? 105, I guess that's million points. Cash multiplier, max troop level. Okay, 44,000. That's a lot. Gain 250 experience. Rebirth! 800 level. Fire Nutter, fist bump, high five. That is a thing. And yes, I had AI fuse my screenshots together for presentability's sake, but considering it's mostly revolving around the stats I did myself and only the facts that are true, I don't see a harm in this case. Not at all. I mean, that's the thing. AI can have a lot of very cool stuff to it. I mean, it all depends on how you use it. It's a tool, and I think you did an amazing job with it. Good for you. I would not describe this as art. It's more of a stats report than anything else. Sweetie, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, this is about presentation, and it is a beautiful presentation. But, Fire Nutter, it's not about the presentation, it's about those amazing stats. Of course, now I'm just thinking about the sausages. Iron Eagle went to finally say a farewell to the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne. I'm telling you, Black Sabbath. I mean, it's so weird to watch him like in those early days, and over 5 million sold. The Prince of Darkness. Oh my gosh, may he rest well in peace. And the thing is that, when you have artists that, are, that big, that's so much larger than life. And you consider the pressures that were on him, because he had a huge image that he had to maintain and all this. And I remember when he bit the head off a bat and ended up with rabies and all kinds of stuff. But he always had to have. I always wondered how he could that. I mean, he had to have just like gone unconscious after a show, because in his shows it was like always at it started at level 10 and went beyond. And you know I mean, it's weird because it sort of makes me think of when I got together before I moved. I got together with some of my friends who I knew back in high school, and I mean, we weren't that rebellious, but we were a little bit rebellious. And oh yeah, live hard, die young, make a pretty corpse, and all high, and And then, with us sitting around as people who were like, in our late 50s to early 60s, we're talking, it's like 9 o'clock. It's like, oh, you know what? I've got to be up early. So, it's like 9 o'clock was late. And, I mean, and it must be strange to reach that point where, the normal aging process kind of comes in, and you know, we do become our parents and sometimes our grandparents. And I hope that he ended up, just at peace. I really think I really hope he ended up at peace because he deserved it. Because he gave his audience 100% and more. He started at 100% and headed up into 200%. So, and I wish him well. And, the fact that he and Sharon were together for as long as they were, that's pretty cool. Especially, considering how things are now. Yes, hydrate. I'm drinking iced coffee. Mm, because sometimes you want the caffeine, but you don't want something hot. Let's see. Did you see my stuff? Which stuff? Where stuff? Did we have stuff? Oh yeah, this one we actually looked at it yesterday before you came on. We were looking at it. And that is very cool to get a power ring. Oh my gosh. That is, and then your little need it, need it, need it, need it, need it. But yeah, we looked at it yesterday. It was before you came in. Ozzy songs got me though. Yeah, songs Englishing, Englishing. Yeah, oh, ads. I hate Twitch. Why can't we just skip ads? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's a thing. But, I mean, really, it could because like his some of his ballads, Baby I'm Coming Home, and I mean, even like the intense, like, that heavy metal intensity. But when you really looked at the lyrics, it was like, wow, he was really telling people what was going on with him. He was letting them know through his songs, like, all of the intensity that he lived with on a daily basis. So, I mean, Black Rain, yep. I mean, the major days, of Black Sabbath, that was, I mean, and his stage shows were on a whole other level. It's like, I mean, with everything that came in, and he'd be there on the throne and the skulls and all of that stuff. It must have been after I left because I was here before the stream started. Really? You were in before the stream started? Because I know we looked over that, and I even said, "Oh, when he gets here, we'll have to." Yeah, because I was saying, when we got there, that we would take a look at it. But hey, I'm old. I might be confused. Um, so it is yesterday. Okay, first off, anybody who was experiencing that very intense weather from yesterday, anybody else on the East Coast or wherever you're at, if yesterday was one of those intense days, um, I'm glad you made it through because I mean, here it was bad. It was, I mean, it was a lot. I won't say it was bad, but it was a lot. And fortunately, the gap of time where I'm dropping off kids and their parents are picking them up at the stops, it wasn't raining at that point. But, it was like a couple of hours later, It was as if the sky had opened up. And I know for a lot of people, this major weather has been causing a lot of problems. So please, 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 please make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that you're stocked up on things like batteries. Make sure that any chance you get to charge up things that can be charged, it's best to do it and then, have them sit than to suddenly it's like the power goes out and then you realize you've only got a limited amount of charge left on some of your stuff. I always make a point of whenever there's any kind of weather coming in to make sure that everything that I need charged up, I've got charged up, including my portable charger. So make sure that you are, that you're staying on that, that you are, you know, taking care of yourself, making sure that you've got some stuff, some supplies, because again, if the power goes out, sometimes people have a hard time cooking. Sometimes, if they've got like an electric stove or something, we've got a gas stove. I've always liked gas stoves. Main reason I always like gas stoves is when it's off, it's off. When you've got the electric stoves and you turn it off, it may have cooled down to the point where it's not orange anymore, but it is still freaking hot. I learned that the hard way. So make sure that you take care of that. But, and that's the thing. It's like summertime can bring some very, very, very intense weather patterns. And, things like tornadoes and the main hurricane season is going to be starting up in a couple of months. But, there's a lot of weather that can happen. So please make sure that, you've got some supplies set aside, that you've got, things that you can, have for food. Um, so just please make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And, I mean, even have like, I've got a little radio. Let's see, where do I have it? I have it over there. I've got a radio. I'm not quite sure where it is. That is like one of the little portable transistor radios that just takes batteries. It's got the antenna. It's not hooked to the internet or anything like that. That is a good thing to have because in worst case scenarios, you can still be able to use one of those little radios. Where is that? I think I do have it. It's on, I think it's on the shelf. Here, Arby, hold out for a second. Okay. What did I do with it? Hold on. Ah, yes. Okay. There you go. But look at the people. Okay, so Doc's emergency advice. You get yourself one of these little transistor radios. RB stream. Yes, we got to do an RB stream. You get like, if you don't have like one of these little, and some of you may need to ask your grandparents about these, but these are a way to be able to find out what's going on when the internet is completely down. This was something that, like my parents, who were crazy about, always being prepared. But if you have like a little transistor radio, and that's why, you need to make sure you've got batteries, these can be a lifesaver when it comes to being able to, stay connected to what's going on when there is no internet, when cell phones, the cell towers are down. So, make sure that you get one of those. Let's see. After I left, we had talked about bats and lightning hitting the bus or something. Yep. It hit me when I saw all of the stuff. Ozzy was gone. Yeah. I mean, and then when you see somebody's life accomplishments set up like that, that is, that's pretty amazing. When you think about the legacy that someone leaves. And, I mean, back in the day, it was, people doing the same makeup that he would do, where he would do like, that big heavy eyeliner type of thing, and his hair, everybody had to have the Aussie hair. But yeah, that is very powerful. And when we think about, what is the legacy we would like to leave? I mean, you don't have to have a global legacy. You can just realize that you've made an impact on people around you every single day. And maybe you make an impact, maybe you do something nice for a total stranger. That's a part of your legacy because they'll remember that. And that's a pretty cool legacy to have. But yeah, when you reach that kind of level, it's very powerful. And to me, I think it's very lonely. I mean, can you imagine having it be being so big and so amazing and so famous? I mean, how do you know people are actually your friends? What if you just feel like going, and walking down the street, maybe walking to a shop or to, go hang out at a museum or just sit at the park? When you're that well known, you lose all of those minutes because the next thing you know, there's a crowd of hundreds crowding around you and that could be really bad. And so I think that it would be an amazing life and it would also be a very lonely one. And I'm glad he had Sharon that, could be there with him, the Princess of Darkness. So, but eh, that's what I think sometimes. Like, it's like, oh, well, I mean, how many of you would like to be like really, really famous? And I mean, I'd love to be rich and famous. I could, I consider that one of my goals that it would be really cool. And understanding what's the price you pay for that. And the idea that, you never quite know if somebody is actually your friend or if they're just trying to gain something from you, because there's a lot of people who would want to just be around you for the cloud or to have you do something for them. But to have people who are your honest friends who can sit and watch an old movie with you and not talk about how cool it is to be, what you are, and, then go off and brag to other people that they know you. So I think that there's definitely a price that, people at that level pay, which makes me a bit more compassionate to them because it's like, oh, they're rich, they're rich and famous. They've got, they're living the life of Riley and, no pity for them when they say, "Hey, I'm over, I'm burnt out." And a lot of them do burn out, because they spend all of their time just fragmenting themselves to just be there for everybody. And I would imagine that gets really hard after a while. And then they get burnt out, or maybe they start acting up. Well, maybe they didn't have any downtime. Maybe they didn't have an eye of the storm. Maybe they didn't have people around them who they could just be themselves with. They didn't have to be their stage presence with. So, that's why if I ever become like totally famous and all of that stuff, I'm going to count on you guys to keep me honest. To think I'm currently player level 800, that's almost halfway to the player level 1667 on that Roblox game. You keep it up, Fire Nutter. You can make it there. You can do it. Thanks. I will keep at it. Arby's Dream, yes. Did you hear about Oliver Tree? Who or what is Oliver Tree? May Ozzy Osbourne ride that crazy train to the sky. Oh, crazy train. And my favorite foliage is in the house. Fruity Leaves. Hello. To be honest, I want to sit on Ozzy's throne, but then I thought it would be disrespectful to his memory. Want it again. Englishing! Ride. Englishing! We are having so much Englishing going on. And Jay Stunzy, ... We're talking about Ozzy Osbourne. Got a headache and I'm nauseous. Ooh, it's just a game of what's causing it. PMS, the fact that I woke up at 3 a.m., the fact that I've only eaten a bag of chips and now an ice cream or the unholy mix of it, of all that. Yeah, it can be, it can be, well, PMS does a lot. And the fact that you've only eaten a bag of chips, which means that maybe you dehydrate a little bit because that's a lot of sodium. And then the ice cream kicks in with a sugar bump that may or may not aggravate the dehydration. So, oh, well, I'm very sorry, sweetheart. I hope you feel better. Oliver is a musician. He died in a helicopter crash back in June. Ah, no, who is it? Oliver Tree. Okay, I've drank a bunch of water today. Good, good. Who is? I don't think I've ever heard of Oliver Tree. Oliver Tree. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. So I have seen like pictures of him. I don't think I've ever heard and listened to any of his music, but yeah, I've seen him. I remember seeing him because mainly it's like, okay, that haircut I find very interesting. Known for blending alternative rock, indie pop, and hip hop with with eccentric videos and comedic personas. Oh, well, good for him. And hey, I hope that he is resting well and resting peacefully, and that because I do honestly believe that folks who pass, they can hang around a bit. And I will tell you absolutely, I am coming to my funeral. I will tell you that. Because if anybody acts out, I am going to go Amityville on their butts. No one will ever have the right to sit on Ozzy's throne because of what that man did after the amount of drugs he did throughout his life. Yep. Man could barely walk or talk, but sang flawlessly. He really was amazing, and to see the physical decline that he experienced, but I mean he was someone who, no matter what, he stuck to his guns, and he was going to be true to himself and true to who he was. And he caught a lot of flack, like a lot of the heavy metal artists. I mean, they had people blaming them for you know teenage self-harm and violence and all kinds of other stuff. And there were some artists that, like, oh, we're sorry. It's like, nope. Ozzy it's like, you know what? I make music. That's what I do. I'm not responsible for what other people choose to do, which was absolutely true. And, he wasn't going to dial back his message or dial back his energy or dial back the intensity of his concerts because, he was going to be true to him, and bless him for that. Uh, One of my PMS symptoms is cramps for some reason. All my cramps are before my period first day of it, the worst, and then basically painless the rest of it. Kimmy Bean Arts in the house with the southbound end of a northbound unicorn, and it's raining beans. Hallelujah. Oh, Kimmy Beans, how are you doing? Did you see my long message? Did you put it in Discord? Because I don't see, I looked at the, like a little, I didn't see it in a little help here. I did not see it in the general. Where'd you put it? Where was it? Where'd it go? Let me know where it went. Because I don't see, because okay, there's the doc live, there's the friends live, there's the promote yourself and others, because it'll usually tell me if a new message comes in. Let's see. I'll resend it. Good. Oh, posting it here. Pearl from Steven Universe is an apparent MAGA. which I don't understand why that's an issue. Wait a minute, what? I genuinely believe people have right their own opinions. Plus, she didn't even say anything, and someone went deep dive into her accounts, which I've done before myself, but that's for me, and I'm not going to go out somewhere also showing someone doesn't mean you agree with them. I follow people on the left because I can get both sides. Okay, Pearl's not real. Pearl is a cartoon character. So therefore, it is actually impossible for Pearl to have a political opinion because Pearl's not real. I love the character. And see, I watch Steven Universe as I do with most of these shows. You know, I end up watching it like on a day that I'm sick. And see, if I'm sick, I am sick and I am down and all of that stuff. But, you know, and I was like, there was a couple of days when I was just really, I had the flu bad. And so I ended up watching like the entirety of Steven Universe. And I had never watched it, and the series had ended by that time. So, you know, I love how they evolved the characters. And I mean, and there were some parts of that was like, wow, wow. That they're speaking some real truth that they mixed in with the whole idea of like, you know, I mean, honestly, Steven Universe to me was an adult cartoon. It was something that was more designed to, you know, I mean, they had the fun songs, which I love the fun songs. My favorite, the one about Opal and you know the giant woman, and you know, and the whole thing with Pearl and Amethyst, and you know the aggravation they had and how they grew. But it's like the way the characters actually had that growth arc and that maturity. And it wasn't like it was, oh, you know, happy endings and stuff like that. And they really each had to face that, you know, that part of themselves. So, you know, I thought that it was a very well done series. And I really like how they ended it because they allowed Steven to grow. And they acknowledged how in one of the episodes they talked about how, you know, it had really driven him into, you know, depression and mental illness. The fact that so much was expected of him from such a young age, and you know, he started getting this obsessed thought, oh, I've got to take care of everybody, I've got to solve all the problems, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And you know, he just, you know, it messed him up, and you know, drove him into that shadow aspect. And the fact that, you know, Pink Diamond had, you know, like emotional issues. And I mean, it's a very, very well done series. And it made me think a lot, even though I was sick as a dog. I thought a lot about it, but the music is very, very good. I'm a bit wonky in the gut, but I'm okay. How are you? You know what? Awesome, and a little bit better now that you're here. Might need to repost in the Discord likely. In a way, I'm like Ozzy because I'd rather be myself than just another fake face. Absolutely. Oh, and we've got, ooh, we've got New Beans. Yes. Her voice actor. Yes. And we've got a posture check. We've got a lot of posture checks lately. Okay. All right. All right. Everybody, you know, remember that it's very easy, you know, when we sit, normally we sit up like this, but it's very easy to go into one of these postures when we're all hunched forward, and the strain that creates on the back, and all the muscles here that get shrunk. So, you know, and from the position, whatever position you're in, just push your shoulders forward as far as you can. Then from that forward position, bring them up as high as you can. Now, just this to this, you see what it does to the spine. It's like suddenly that starts to straighten out. Then from that forward position, rolling them back as far as you can, which brings everything upright, and then bringing the shoulders down. Now, for a lot of people, this is a very uncomfortable position. So it's like forward, up, back, down. And also from that forward position, try to take a deep breath. You can't, not without like shifting your body. But if you forward, up, back, down, except when you're sucking spit back down your throat. But you could take a nice deep breath and have that go in. So absolutely. And if you do that, from the front, forward, up, back, down. It is amazing how much more air you can get in. And see, and that's the other thing. When you're hunched forward and you can't get that much air, it starts to deprive your brain of oxygen. I mean, not vitally, but it makes it a little bit harder to think. It makes it a little bit harder to have that clarity. I mean, the voice actor has a right to their own opinions, but if everyone's gonna boohoo about it, then tough, because it's a right and it would not be correct to suppress these opinions. Wait a minute, what? Are we talking about the voice actor for Pearl, or like people who think, because there's some people who are not totally clear on the fact that these animated characters, as brilliantly as they're done, they're not real people. They're not real. They are a creation. And the part that resonates with each of us is due to the writing, well, the writing and the voice acting. I mean, if it's the actor, I mean, the voice actor has a right to their own opinion. So if it's the voice actor for Pearl, oh, her voice actor, yes. Ah, well, I mean, honestly, what somebody does with their own time, what they believe with their own time, I mean, it's not hurting anybody. Why not let people let's see. The voice actor has a right to their own opinion. Is gonna boohoo about it, then tough, because it's a right and it would not be correct to express their opinions. 100% Fire Nutter. She was following Charlie Kirk and other right-wing accounts. So, which I don't see any issue, because again, it's her opinion. Abso-freaking-lutely. I mean, we can agree to disagree. Nobody has to agree with everything that I say or think, and I'm totally cool with that. And in fact, if someone disagrees with me and they express what their opinion is, it's like, oh wow, well thank you for giving me something to think about. I mean, I think it would be really crazy to think that, well, if I yell at somebody or if I say bad things to them, then they're going to say, oh, well, that person's right. No, in fact, you reduce your chance of ever having any influence on them. I mean, if somebody comes up to you and just and then wants you to agree with them, it's like, first off, you come at me like that, you have shown that you are not somebody I'm going to listen to. If you trust the messenger, trust the message. And if you do not trust the messenger, disregard the message. And there's a lot to being a messenger. And one of the biggest things that I know about being a messenger is shut your face hole. You want people to listen to you, listen to them first. And don't just listen, waiting for their lips to stop moving before you start telling them how wrong they are. When somebody tells me something, especially if it's something that I don't totally agree with, it's like, I take a second. It's like, hmm. And I think about it. And, you reach a point where you don't need to be right. And if I believe that my belief is right for me, it doesn't matter if somebody else thinks differently. And if they think that what they believe is right for them, if they are being authentic, because see, that goes back to that whole Ozzy Osbourne thing. People were constantly yelling and telling him, he was damaging young people and he was responsible for their self-harm, and he was a horrible influence and all of this other stuff. And he had the courage to stand up to it. He had the courage to tell them what they could go do with themselves. And to say, It is not his responsibility, just because someone chooses to listen to one of his songs, he is not responsible for what they choose to do. And, I always admired him for that because it's like Ozzy was Ozzy no matter what. So, Big Bruce! Okay, Big Bruce. 1, 2, 3. I have to tell you something, okay? Because I was thinking, and after yesterday, it was like, hmm, why does that name sound familiar? Why? Back in 1980, I went to my first year of college was at a place called Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. It was an old black university. And there was a guy there who everybody called Big Bruce. And his name was Bruce, and he was a big guy. Absolutely. And he was one of those guys who could intimidate without saying anything just because of the size he was. He developed a stare that was the most amazing stare because, and he had to look slightly down because he was really, really tall. But I mean, phew. And he wouldn't say anything. Nobody could accuse him of threatening them because he never said anything, but he had a look that was like, you know, one way or another, you are going to stop being a problem for me. And you can decide how bad that goes for you. But he always, if anybody was picking on girls, it was like he would show up at every party. And any girl that looked like uncomfortable because some guy was, crowding in on her and all that, he would just go and stand next to them. Hey, how's it going, little sister? And, and he'd call them little sis. And, and the guys would like look at her, they'd look at Bruce, Bruce would look at them, and, they'd kind of go off. But he was always somebody who was very protective. And, and he was not a guy who dealt with bullying at all. If he saw or heard any of that going on, he was going to step up. And and sometimes he'd just say, and he had this beautiful kind of a soft deep voice, and like somebody be messing with somebody and behind them they'd hear, that's not very nice, or look, that's not very nice, and they turn around and they're looking at basically like his sternum. But that's the thought that you brought to my mind, Big Bruce, and it was a good one. Thank you for having that name, because that name brought back, because at one point I was one of those girls that, he made sure was going to be okay at every party. And and he was just a sweetheart of a guy. Absolute sweetheart. But, he took people's feelings very, very, very carefully and very seriously. And I don't know, because I know he was like pre-med, I think. I think he was pre-med, but he was such a nice guy. He was such a sweetheart. And I'll bet you're a sweetheart too. So yes, okay, boomer rant for Big Bruce. At the end of the day, not everyone will agree. People will have differences. Politics will always cause issues because people are so focused on their own opinions being right. Ding, ding, ding. That no one else can be. Yeah. I mean, when people realize, you know what, I could be wrong, or, maybe I need new information. And one of the things that I would say to people, especially if folks were like, really fired up and really defensive, and they're raising their voices and all of that stuff. And I would just say, it's like, I don't understand why you feel the way you do, but I do want to try. Can you explain it to me? And immediately the anger and all of that stuff goes down, and I sit and I hear them out, and and I ask them to, it's like, well, can you tell me more about this? Oh, well, can you tell me more about that? And I will look them dead in the face and, and learn because they're teaching me something. And, I don't have to change my mind. And the thing is, when somebody is allowed to just say what they have to say without having someone interrupt them or try to make them wrong, they calm down. And it's like, well, all I'm saying is that, these are the things that concern me. And it's like, yeah, I can see that. And I always thank them and say, you know what? You've given me a lot to think about. Thank you. And I smile because I feel like it, because that's honestly me. That's honestly how I deal with stuff. And, and there's some people, Jason T, who tell me that I'm like way too nice sometimes. But that's me. I grew up in Canada among hippie folks, and I was born in, or I grew up in California. I was born in Canada. I think it's a law you have to be kind of nice there. Yeah, it's a voice actor. Ah, right. The problem I see or have is the actors or musicians that use their platform to promote certain things to their fans, and the fans just blindly follow it because they're a fan of the actor and musician. That is a very good point, Jay. Have a brain and think for yourself, you mindless drone. I mean, that's true. If somebody appreciates an actor for the character they play, it's like, okay, but that's kind of more about the character. It's more about, that particular person. It's sort of like, okay, I'm gonna get caught. Oh God, I need to get caught up with the chat, and then we're gonna bring up something. Let's see. It's nobody's business who you vote for. Civic duties, yes. Secret ballots. That's the thing. Duty states to vote for who resonates the most with their politics. Also, it's dumb to talk about the part like it that part like it doesn't exist. Exactly. I still remember the legendary coin flip. Have a coin flip on my laptop, watch it often. Yeah, I still think somehow that got influenced. Nobody gets that many heads. But never shoot the messenger. That's just bad luck. Exactly. Voting is done privately by law. Exactly. Correct. Plus, you shouldn't give out information that person themselves doesn't publicly share. Exactly. Fisk, isn't that also the name of Spider-Man villain as well? Really? Daredevil. Oh, yeah. Fisk University. Home of the Daredevil adversary. Hot take. Marvel sucks, DC's better. It's an opinion. Actually, Jay Fisk was first shown in Spider-Man way before Daredevil. TV show, yes. Movies, hell no. That's why there are walls up between people to block views. Exactly. I'm kidding, of course. I do think Marvel is great in its own right, but I like DC better. Good for you. I was 6'3", 400 pounds in high school. That was me. I'm 6'3", 300 pounds now. But I ruled over Vicksburg High School. Homecoming king. We have royalty in our presence? Okay, hold on. Okay, this is for Big Bruce. We have royalty. And when we have royalty in our presence, we have to wear a crown. Yes. See, that is, and I'll bet you were one of those that, just had that look that you really don't want to continue with this look. It's okay to nice doc. Yes. I mean, there are other that give their own views, like Charlie Kirk or Hazan Piker. Those are the people who should turn to for an opinion on an opinion for a side, except don't go to Piker. He's supposedly terrorism. Yeah, and the thing is that, I understand wanting to shout about how great you feel your candidate should be lobbying. Like, dude, you cannot force people to vote how you want them to. Exactly. Oh, Miss Reed. All hail Big Bruce. All hail King Big Bruce. All hail. See, that's right up there with Hail Jay. Hail Jay. Care to dance with the devil in the moonlight and chance another coin flip? No. Not until I know they're not rigged. But, it is crazy. I mean, and that's the thing about, because we were talking earlier about things like fame and how people idealize and sometimes romanticize someone, and it's like, they're just a regular person. They go to the bathroom, they pass gas, they burp occasionally, they will have strong opinions about something. But the thing is that, why worry about what someone else believes? Because, most people would not want someone worrying about what they believe or trying to prove them wrong, because at any given point, everybody can be wrong. And the idea of, people who, it's like, oh, well, if you have a particular political viewpoint then that doesn't align with mine, then you shouldn't have your job. No, that is not true, because that is that person's personal perspective. Oh my gosh, I forgot how much I love iced coffee. Anyway, it really is about, also at the end of the day, you have the right to your opinion, but if a life is taken and you say things like, good, he deserved it, yeah, or I don't agree with them, take their life, there's a special place in HE double hockey sticks for you, Republican, Democrat, or whatever. Yep, I like Star-Lord. Star-Lord! Hey, Star-Lord had some very cool dance moves. Star-Lord can boogie. All hail J, all hail J. Oh, I can see you, lol. That's why real coins are better, Doc. There's no excuse for virtual coins. See, Skynet, or, the one in Terminator, the big computer overlord, started with a coin flip. I bet that computer started off as a coin toss thing, a coin toss app, and it ended up taking over the world. Gotta watch that. These are scary times, but honestly, it's always been like this. War goes on no matter how you feel. So vote who you feel for. Yep. The fact that everyone can be right, but also wrong at the same time as one person sees things. I mean, because it also comes from, individual perspectives. People, go with the perspectives that align with the way their life path has gone. And the thing is, I have dear friends that are all over the spectrums, from every political group, almost every racial group, almost every religious group, and we hang out together for those things that we all find in common, like we all really like video games, or we grew up in, the same generation, and we grouse about the things that people from our generation grouse about. And and bottom line, life is way too short to spend time angry. It's like, I don't think anybody would ever see. I gotta turn this up because you gotta see the crown for Bruce. The idea is, when somebody has that last breath, I would hazard to say that none of them looks back on their life in those final moments and go, wow, I really wish I was angrier. I'm pretty certain that I won't. It's the idea of, and what that type of energy costs us. Other than the fact that if you're consistently angry and lecturing people about things, it's like, people don't want to be around that. They want to be around somebody who's fun, who plays video games, who makes amazing empanadas. Looking at you, Jay. Let's do some empanadas. We could use my spam for the empanadas. Spam-panadas! We need to make spam-panadas a thing. Jay, we need to make spam-panadas a thing. We can make empanadas and we could put spam in it. Maybe a few jalapenos. Anyway, moving on. Spam-panadas. That would be so good. That's why I feel like getting info from both sides is so important. Exactly. Because after getting info from both sides, you can see fails on both sides and good things on both. Ding, ding, ding. 100%. And that's a good thing. If everyone agrees on everything, that would be scary. Exactly. I mean, first off, I would never ever I never want to see Jay Stunzee try to eat a pineapple pizza again, because the one time that I saw him do it, it frightened me because he had a truly full body negative experience with that. No, Jay is never to go near that. Ooh, spam. Oh, are you one of those folks who think spam is like a crime against humanity, Kimmy Beans? I mean, yeah, Dux takes cover from Jay's reaction to pineapple on pizza. Yes. We do not even play with that. His reaction to that was was almost scary, and I don't want that no more. But spam. Spam, 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 spam. Oh my god. Wonderful spam, spam, spam. Monty Python's Flying Circus had a spam song. Wait a minute. Who? Oh, well, before I do this, let me make sure that that's okay. Spam song. Yes, it was Monty Python. Monty Python did the spam song. Hold on. Let's see. Copy link. Okay. Spam song. Oh geez, that's a big link. But okay, so click on that if you want to hear Monty Python's spam song. But let's see. No, I just know how it's made, and yuck, not gonna ruin it for others. Fried spam sandwich with cheese and mayo. Fist bump by 5. There is something about, and I think it came from Hawaii, or it originated in Hawaii as like a, like a military type of thing, because it can last forever in the can. Oh, but yeah, a good fried spam sandwich with cheese and mayo. And now, to me, you just add a fried egg on top of that. It's like spam, egg, mayo, sandwich, cheese. Let's see. What about some Worcestershire sauce? In hamburger meat, it's great. Oh, that used to be like the main thing in when my mom made meatloaf. Okay. A lot of people have different views on meatloaf. Meatloaf was, when I was growing up, meatloaf was like, hold on. Meatloaf in the 60s. 60s meatloaf. Okay, so this was the meatloaf with cheese. My house, we did not combine meatloaf and cheese. This was how most of our meatloaf looked. And yeah, Meatloaf. Oh my god, I love Meatloaf. Meatloaf, the artist, was amazing. He was very similar to Ozzy Osbourne, because I mean, Meatloaf sang as if somebody were threatening his children. I mean, that was the intensity. That was the bar. It was like, somebody was threatening somebody he loved and said, "You will sing your guts out or something happens to them." He sang just like everything. I mean, I'm really surprised that he was walking at the end of his shows. He must have left the stage and just collapsed. But yes, amazing artist. But yes, and Meatloaf, there was something about peas. Peas, mashed potatoes. Oh, that Meatloaf. Oh, he was amazing. And oh my gosh, the old Swanson's meat. Oh, see, and when TV dinners. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Meatloaf. We're gonna TV dinners in the 60s. Yes. We had, oh my goodness. This was like Swanson's, and I mean, and the little tinfoil thing that had the little separate sections. Ask your grandparents about this stuff. And this thing that this kid is looking so excited about, that was Salisbury steak. I guarantee you it never looked like that. And Swanson's was like the big, let's see, what was the old? Yeah, slices of dry turkey. Oh my gosh. Yep. Now a bright new home style touch. I'm telling you, the early days, yeah, and then it would have like the mashed potatoes, and then there was this little tab of sad butter. But oh my goodness, oh the Mexican food. Oh, Chinese style. Oh my gosh. What? Chinese style. Oh my goodness. TV dinners. That was a thing. You love to make meatloaf. Yes. Iron Eagle, you have never had meatloaf? Okay, we are gonna fly Kimmy Beans out to Iron Eagle so she can make him a meatloaf. But without ketchup. You don't put the ketchup on? I use half sausage, half hamburger from Okay, Big Bruce and Kimmy Beans, we're gonna put you guys together, put you in a food truck, and you're making meatloaf for all of us. That's out of the HE double hockey sticks. Dashboard lights. Yes, paradise by the dashboard light. Will you love me? Will you love me forever? Will you need me? Will you never leave me? Will you make me so happy for the rest of my life? Will you take me away? Will you make me your wife? I gotta know right now, before we go any further, do you love me? Will you love me forever? I couldn't take it any longer. Wow, I was crazed. I was feeling like something like a tidal wave. Started swearing to my God and on my mother's grave that I would love you till the end of time. I swore I would love you till the end of time. And now I'm waiting for the end of time to hurry up and arrive. 'Cause if I gotta spend another minute with you, I don't think I can really survive. Won't forget my promise, won't forget my vow, but God only knows what I can do right now. Oh my gosh. That was the Cheez-Its crackers in your meatloaf? I have never heard of that. Instead of breadcrumbs, I mean, I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that. Oh my gosh. Salisbury steak to me was like fake steak. I mean, I'm sure that the meat was real, but it was so thin it could never fill a void of what real meat could do. That is valid. That is absolutely valid. And on that note, that is our hour. Boy, you know what? We get into some of the most amazing discussions. And yes, we always end up talking about food. But no, I want to hear about the meatloaf more. Oh my gosh, it is I would do anything for love. That was because when I went and saw, I got to see Meatloaf in concert, and that was like amazing. That was when he did that one. I mean, he did Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, and I would do anything for love. So he was doing his older stuff, he was doing his newer stuff. Oh my god, and I loved his voice. Flies over to Kimmy Beans to taste meatloaf. So, everyone, please, please, please have a wonderful day. Enjoy yourself. We will be back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, and talking about other stuff for an hour during lunch. So, thank you for sharing lunch with me, and take care. And please, 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 please always remember that you are the only you in all the universe. You're the only you that's ever been and the only you that will ever be. And what that does is it makes you special, it makes you sacred, and most of all, it makes you necessary. Because as the only you in all of the universe wouldn't be the same or complete without you. So, everyone, have an amazing morning, afternoon, evening, or night. May you walk gently with the world. May the world walk gently with you. And as always, I wish you balance and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. So have a good day. Learn something new. I'm proud of you. Proud, proud, proud of you. And I love you. I'm proud of you. You know why. You know. Best wishes flies over to Kimmy B's today's meatloaf. I can't make much but meatloaf and B&G and the spam and spam, fried spam. Yep. TTF out. Yes, it should be an interesting afternoon of driving. Hopefully, fingers, eyes, and toes crossed that we will not have any downpours and I'll be able to get the kids home well. So, anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Emerald Queen, where the gamers unite.